Okay, good afternoon, everybody. You're here with the Political Nooner at Ghost Town Politics. I'm Rachel's Ghost, your host, alongside my co-host, my handsome co-host, Blake McKenzie. Good Scottish name. We watched a good Scottish movie last night. What was that thing we watched? Kidnap. Robert Louis Stevenson classic. And it had kind of an unknown British actor. He doesn't even have a Wikipedia, but Michael Caine was in there. And you would have been proud as a Scotsman there, Blake, all the tartans flying in great pride. And of course, it was the Highlanders versus the Lowlanders and, Culcullen and, the Bunny Pits Charlie. We just love it. But we got a bit of I don't know. Today's title is something like Road Judges Equal Constitutional Crisis. It really is a crisis. And the crisis is such I'm no constitutional scholar, so, I'm just some elderly retiree out in Nanaimo, British Columbia, living in a van down by the river. But, it's very interesting to see all that's going on with these judges. Some are calling it a judicial coup. So let's take a look here. Separation of powers. I know that's all involved. Who has the rights to do tariffs? The Congress can. But Trump already had a victory in Congress. Remember, Rand Paul, the conservative, the Republican, was trying to, rope Trump in, and along with the Democrats. They lost. Congress already gave them the go-ahead, so it's kind of wild. So the first one I want is called judicial coup, where you got her all here. Holy smoke, she's good. Okay, so let's read what it is. Stephen Miller, a great patriot. We love him. We are living under a judicial tyranny. 3 judges who just overturned Trump's entire trade agenda. And of course, China has weighed in celebrating this decision by these judges and it takes the pressure off of Canada. And this is the very thing, these tariffs, Trump's using them to leverage other nations into submitting to Trump's agenda. Now, there's one I want to show you because China's already come out cheering this development. But I got one more I want you to show, Sue, and then we're going to turn over to Blake for his thoughts on this. There's one called Poilievre Celebrates. Poilievre Celebrates, last of the ones I threw in there. Yeah. And hopefully you can get that one. So we'll see how that goes. But Poilievre's weighed in on this, and this should tell you everything about this, the fact that China's supporting the rogue judges and not supporting the president's policy. So it must be good for China. Here's my response to this post. So can you go above and go to the original post so we can show the post? Because and then I'll show you. That's just my response to it. Okay, what do you got there? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, you're having a hard time roping it in. Basically...
there's an arrow up above. You scroll up. Just go scroll up.
There you go. Pierre Poilievre.
No, go back. Go back.
You're doing it. There. Everybody. Okay, here it is. There we go. Pierre Poilievre, good news. A U.S. trade court has struck down harmful tariffs on some Canadian goods. We need true free trade so workers earn more, price fall, business boom up, both sides support it. But we no longer put all our eggs in the U.S. basket. God, who does that sound like? Too risky. Canada must diversify. Talk to Europe. This is Carney's talking point. Talk about the fucking uniparty. So I go, attaboy, Pierre. Here's a Pelosi clap of condescension to help you celebrate. Elbows up, you fucking clown. Good news. So Poilievre, it tells you exactly where he's at. Poilievre is no friend to the United States. He's in bed with China. He's agreeing with the fucking Chinese. Poilievre, Carney, the Chinese, they're all celebrating while America weeps. The Democrats are all celebrating, of course. But the Patriots lose on this separation of powers. Something's got to be done about this. Something's got to be done soon, or you have no democracy. And Stephen Miller also saying you got no democracy. If the judges, you don't elect these people to run the country. Hey, judge, what's going to be our foreign policy? Can you establish foreign policy for it? Absolutely maddening. But there's supposedly Congress is supposed to do something, so you get a hold of the Johnson and Hume, and you get those guys in. And they got to make some decisions, get some votes going in to curtail this overreach by the judiciary. Separation of powers going nowhere. Blake, go ahead, take it on.
Well, it's interesting. This began in the 1990s when politicians decided that the courts is where you get your points made without having to state anything. Because I remember they would always say, oh, I can't discuss this. This is before the courts. And it was like they had passed off their democratically elected responsibility to be lawmakers. So if you're a lawmaker, you're the one who writes the laws. The judges are not supposed to be the ones to write law. However, I mean, this is a much more complicated one. But I think Poilievre is speaking to try and regain his seat right now because he's running in a by-election. So he's trying to be, obviously pro-Canada, but let's call a spade a spade. There's different people involved in here. You got the U.S., Mexico, Canada agreement. There is some legalities around that. I think Trump may have overstepped on. That's why he was using the fentanyl and the security reasons why to deal with, border issues, tying penalties to those specifically for the drugs and illegals crossing the border. But essentially, when we're looking at what's happening here, obviously it's a lead up to the big new negotiation. I think that negotiation is, again, a delay tactic. I think these judges are in the bag and have been for the globalist agenda because they've been appointed by globalists for 30 years. So you look at who's been in power, the Bush-Cheney crowd, the Obamas, the Bidens, Trump came in for 4 years. He got stuck in the swamp, learned the swamp, and now he's fighting back against the swamp. And he's only a few months in. So these little setbacks are going to show up. These guys are like the little foxes. They're out there to kind of trip him up here and there. But you know what? I don't think it's going to stop. I think the energy is in his direction 100%. There's a lot more going on globally, geopolitically. If China's cheering for this, that's how you know who's behind it and who's paying for who there, because these guys are all in on China. All their investments are in China. All these globalist money is in China. So I think those judges are, they're in the tank. They're going to get overturned. Things are going to change. But I think when we talk about Canada's role in this, let's call a spade here again, who this really is. When they say Canada, they mean Ontario. So let's cut the crap. It's all Ontario.
Yeah,
and it's the Laurentian elite in central Canada because of their big factories. They've sucked everything out of the west and the east, and I mean the far east, into the core, which is the center of the universe, is Toronto. Tirana, for those who like to say that. But Don Cherry's way, Tirana.
Yeah, a lot of people, like Easterners, pronounce it like that, Tirana.
Yeah, so I think it's again, Poilievre lost because Ford was a Carney guy because they wanted to support the manufacturing of Ontario, which is the core of manufacturing for Canada. We got to remember there's like 14 million people in Ontario. Canada, rest of Canada, I mean, what is there, 7 or 8 million in Quebec? And then there's like 5 or almost 6 million in BC. And then everywhere else outside of maybe Alberta with a couple million, or I think they're up to 3 million now. And I think Saskatchewan's like 1 million, similar to maybe a little bit smaller than Manitoba. Because, I mean, it's really one city is Manitoba's population, and that's Winnipeg. And then the Maritimes is like, maybe all the maritime provinces combined might be 1 million people, maybe 1.5 million. So I think the oyster taco.
He calls it. You see, he calls it a Toco lover. You're a Toco lover. What the fuck? Attaboy, Matthew.
Good old. Is he talking about prairie oysters?
Yeah, Jesus. Yeah. Holy smokes. I got my shades on. There's a skylight over my head. It's very bright in here. You see the brightness. Anyway, keep going. You're doing great on this thing, Blake. But obviously, go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah, I'll finish on that one thought. Yeah. So anyways, it is a central Canadian elite position. All this elbows up. All this up is for them outside of some exterior things like the softwood and aluminum, which does affect British Columbia. But Canada ships, or British Columbia, for example, we ship most of our coal goes to China, right? So, our coal. So we're completely reliant off China buying our coal. I mean, we got EB now running around he's going to go to Indonesia to open up new trade for British Columbians and Canada. I'm like, what are you going to get? America is our number one trading partner. You're never going to be able to diversify that great. I think diversity is the right thing to do. If you're a sovereign country, you do trade with everybody, but our greatest partner is still the U.S. It needs to be the U.S., and that should be it.
Matthew, enjoy the libation. All right, we got one here, Sue. This is one I put down as don't play it. This is something like this is just nonsensical, but I want to show them, but I don't want to play the actual video. Okay, so it's important we don't play the video, but I like the tagline because it tells the story about it. This is called Starmer Rent Boys. So Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of England, there's some breaking news around this guy. Apparently he's got proclivities. And by the way, speaking of proclivities, there's no way Brigitte Macron isn't a guy. I'm here to tell you right now, as a fun-loving, Canada's number one fun-loving transsexual, I got to tell you that this Brigitte Macron piece of work, this is some guy. So Starmer, this came out. There is a video. This guy's talking about. I encourage people to go to this account and read it. But Andrew Bridgen drops a bombshell about the 3 rent boys connected to Starmer. What the actual fuck? A former Ukrainian Secret Service agent says the boys were gathering information from UK politicians and passing on the Ukrainian dissident Portnov. He was a challenger to Zelensky. He got assassinated in Madrid 4 days after their arrest. The plan to replace Zelensky and continue the war. And if you just scroll down a little bit on it, I think Sue, or on this guy, we can see a little bit more there. Okay, there you go. So there's the video, and please put that link in there for the kid. You may have already done so. So she's very good at this. Blake, I know that. I mean, what the hell? What are we going to do with this? But we're rent boys. Have you ever encountered a rent boy, Blake? What the hell's going on with these globalist elite and rent boys? It seems like a new thing's just taken off.
Yeah, I think it's still part of the neocon plan to keep us in endless wars and destabilize Russia. They've destabilized the Middle East. It's the endless war. It looks like you got a breaking news from Richard there for you.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm up on this because I subscribe to the Beatles, over on Abbey Road. But the long out of print Beatles in mono, my copy's that big flash of white over there. A Beatles mono box set is back on sale. You get it now because it's going fast. I already got it, so I don't need to buy another copy of it.
But what's amazing is saying it just shows that the espionage aspect of using sex for control is everywhere. I mean, and Epstein's Island was a classic example of that. And, the fact that there's this, it's nothing new. This has been used for probably since the Roman Empire and earlier. You want to control people, you just get them into compromised situations and get them to talk. It's like look at James O'Keefe and his team. I mean, he's always getting these people that you think they would learn. Some guy meets some girl, goes for a date, and he's telling her all the secrets of the world because he wants to get laid. I mean, that's basically it. Or it's amazing how much they like to boast. It doesn't matter who they are. Like
even if it's involving rent boys.
Yeah, exactly. Who they've told their deepest, darkest secrets to. I mean, for crying out loud.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the honeypot, but it's just kind of got a little queer twist on it with this character Starmer.
Let's look at this guy.
And the rumors are out there now. Sue's got another one going. Have you got one for the kids to look at, Sue?
Yeah. Speaking of.
Okay. What do we got going here? Let's take a look.
on hidden camera.
Oh yeah, this is holy shit. Okay, so this thing's broken. Have you seen this, Blake? This is David Hogg, little liberal Democrat. He's like vice chair of the DNC right now, or some bloody thing. David Hogg caught on hidden camera, basically.
That was like an open secret.
One question for me is like, how corrupt is the DNC if so many people knew, or few people knew about Biden? Well, the president of the United States.
I mean, I think the fact of the matter is the DNC is always going to be like a campaign arm of the president, ultimately. The bigger issue was like the inner circle that was around Biden. That's it.
And I can't stress to you enough.
Like Joe Biden's chief of staff, like had an enormous amount of power.
Joe Biden?
Joe Biden's chief of staff.
That was like an open secret at that point. Like, I would avoid him. Like, he was scary.
What was his name?
Anthony Trump.
I've never seen him.
Exactly.
What do you mean?
He's like a shadowy, like, Wizard of Oz type figure. That's what made him so like.
Patsy.
I knew how he looked, but I'm like, the general public wouldn't know how this man looked. But he wielded an enormous amount of power, and I can't stress to you how much power he had at the White House.
All right, so yeah, that's another story. God, there's so many stories going on. Okay, so we got the Rent Boys going. Speaking of Rent Boys, David Hogg. But I guess he's put the finger. This isn't undercover. This is an O'Keefe undercover thing, where he's talking to people and information is slipped. And in this case, I guess it's the Biden chief of staff was kind of one of the people, because we got the whole auto pen problem going on.
Jill Biden's chief of staff.
Jill Biden's chief. Jill's
Just to make it worse, it's
Jill Biden's chief of staff. Jill Biden had a chief of staff.
Biden's.
Well, the whole problem, because Joe's fucked up, right? Joe's not functioning. Sorry, Elliot Cruz, friend of mine, but this guy was never sharp as a tack. Anyway, it is just absolutely nuts. We got my good friend Marty's in the house. We love Marty. I'm here to debate the geopolitical consequence substituting angel hair for spaghetti, and thus the economic fallout created by those avoiding pasta, known as the Butterfield effect. Oh my God. There was a joke, Norm MacDonald was talking about it.
8-weight.
The Butterfield 8-weight. Holy smokes! Yeah, you don't want your Butterfield 8-weight happening at Dell. Yeah, well, what did we call it? Yeah, you want Butterfield 8, but you don't want your, what did Loki call it? Butter pig or something. Butterball 8. Anyway, you don't want to be gaining the pounds. It is crazy. There's something in the air today. We got a full moon. Holy smokes, crazy out there.
It's the day before the weekend. There we go.
But yeah, everybody's looking forward to the weekend. We got Matthew sipping a little wine. We love Matthew.
It's
Matthew,
only Thursday,
thanks for being here.
Calm down.
Yeah, it's only Thursday, but
Calm down.
life is good. But okay, so David Hogg, he's a kind of a, what do you call it? He was a crisis actor. He's one of those.
He was a high school student at where the shooting, and then became a huge advocate against
guns and the Second Amendment. And then he rose in the Democrat Party to some extent.
Paid asset.
But yeah, he's a paid actor. But
I have to listen to what he says though. I'm wondering if he knew, because this sounds like planted information. I'm sorry, my little radar went up, and I'm going.
You're not trusting what you're seeing there.
No, I'm thinking that he may have known that he was there to relay a message.
He figured it's the sting, yeah.
Well, but maybe purposely the Democrat Party wants to put out these non-factor patsies to take the hit, right? Not on the bullseye where it should be, is on the top enchilada.
Yeah, but
people running the whole thing.
Okay, yeah, but hold on. What he's saying, this motherfucker is running the whole thing. That this Jill Biden had an ungodly wield of power. He's a scary, freaky guy. And this always, whenever I hear words and language like that, it brings me back to Stanley Kubrick. He says, here's a word of advice. Do not get close to powerful people. It's dangerous to get close to powerful people.
We'll find out if Hogue has a bad car accident soon.
Exactly.
Well, and here's the deal too, Blake. That's a good point, But the other thing is that it's the shadowy people behind. Like everybody was giving Elon Musk shade. Fucking CTV. You cannot hate the mainstream legacy media enough. They come out with a headline that says, I stumbled on this over on the platform, X platform, and they go, Elon Musk After criticizing Trump's big, beautiful bill, Elon Musk steps back from Trump or resigns his position as Doge head. And the point is that everybody that's aware of it, he had like 127-day contract, something like that. And it ran out. And today was the last day of the contract. So he had to legally step back. He was hired in as a special envoy, a special agent for the president.
Well, and I think anybody who knows anything about tech, the tech industry, because that's what he brought in, is tech experts to go filter through all this stuff. He came in to onboard Doge. He was the guy who brought it to onboard it. So onboarding as a project manager would put it out there. You'd set it up. He would train the people to do it.
Yeah.
And then he would pass the reins off and move on to his next thing. So all these people saying, oh, there's a rift between Musk and Trump and all this kind of stuff. No, there's no rift. That's just a bunch of tabloid crap.
Yeah, I agree 100%. The other thing is Elon Musk, there's different studies, different psychological profiles that are done on people. And there are managerial types. These are people that are great managers. They sit and they're happy to sit and manage and oversee something. Then there's entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs come in, they strike hot, they make a load of cash, and then they're on to the next thing with more entrepreneurial money-making ideas. And that's what Elon Musk is. He is an entrepreneur. He's not a manager. He's an entrepreneur by orientation, by inclination. That's the way the guy's built. But God, there's a million stories under the sun. Okay, Stormer Rent Voice. Oh, this is a crazy one when Sue's just helping me out here. Tom Fitton had a story break. So you can see the Tom Fitton one. This is just the stuff on nightmares. I don't, again, want to play the reel or anything that goes with it, but I do want to read the verbiage that goes along with this. Say what you will. Holy fuck. This is a crazy one. This is a tinfoil hat story. Because of the implications, we've all heard about the adrenochrome. Oh my God, we're getting out there, Blake. We're getting out there. The FDA, this is a freedom of access information that Tom Fitton always does, right? Judicial Watch is his organization. The FDA were buying baby skulls during the Obama administration for $550 per skull. Talk about scalping. Now you know why they were pushing abortion so hard. They were making money at $550, and of course they're selling the skulls now. Oh my God! So this is absolutely it's incomprehensible.
Okay, well, this gets into Planned Parenthood and everything. They were selling selling baby body parts to all sorts of people, and it's just absolutely horrible. Planned Parenthood should have nothing. It's a huge conflict of interest if they are able to make millions of dollars off and it's just so revolting off these baby body parts.
Yeah, well, and it's a dehumanization. It goes with our culture where humans are just protoplasm, the globalist vision. That we're just, let's put them in the matrix. Let's put the humans in the cells to battery the machine. That'll be great. Yeah, Neo, we just got to plug in. You're going to be
well. Good. Planned Parenthood had to make sure they had a steady supply of supplies.
Oh boy, it's just terrific. It's actually past. It's past even comprehending.
And I think most people, those of us who've been around researching this for a long time, know that the foundations of Planned Parenthood came from the eugenics movement. Margaret Sanger, avowed communist. This person was also backed, and the Nazis in Germany backed this kind of belief.
Yeah.
And so eugenicism was the source of where this came from.
We know Bill Gates' dad was into all that too.
Eugenics against Black people. Especially.
Well, there was that too. And also the natives.
Planned Parenthood hated Black people, was a complete racist.
Yeah, well, that's the Margaret Sanger. Yeah.
That's all documented. Yeah. This comment here, this is all guilt by association. This is guilt by implication. This is just rumored guilt. There's no hard evidence on any of this, Marty. richest man in the world with billions of government contracts in charge of federal, no problem. You're right. There is no problem there. There is zero problem there. Just because he's rich, if he's a billionaire with integrity and if he's honest and loves Jesus, which he doesn't, I wish he would, and that he would be honorable and that which he is. He's an honorable guy. I like Elon Musk. I think he's an honest guy. I think he's an honest broker. He just happens to be the richest guy in the world.
Well,
if you got something on him, then show us. But if you got nothing, all you got is just innuendo. And that's not good enough to say no to the guy. So sorry, Marty, that doesn't fly with me. Go ahead, Blake. You can address it if you like.
Well, and let's just, we don't even have to name names. Let's talk about the billionaires that are working in cahoots with the globalists that have working on endless wars, overturning democratically elected people in different countries, doing it for profit. I'm sorry, those guys are the guys that sided with the other side. So, there's some good guys, billionaires.
Yeah, and the fact that the Dems, all they had with Musk was to throw epithets at him and just insults. That's the best you can do, like you're doing, Marty. You can go, oh, no problem.
Well, it's like he was a Democrat. He was with us, we thought. No, he's not. He's the enemy. Now we got to scorch him. Well, did he really change?
If they had anything on him, they'd have busted him big time, and they got nothing. He's clean, and it's the same with Trump. Trump's clean. They had to create laws so that they could try and go after Trump. Letitia James, what a whore that piece of work is. Letitia James, alleged whore. Sorry, alleged. But obviously, there's all these criminals alleged that are running things, running opposition to Trump. And, it's got to stop. And I think you're right, Blake. You're always great. You have great comments. One of the ones that I really like today is you say, we're 4 months in. Give us some time, Rach. Give us some time, Patriots. Don't freak out over the fact that they're running a lot of interference. You must be over the target if they're putting that much effort into stumbling everything. And the judges, they're coming up like dandelions in spring, right? You got your beautiful lawn. It's gorgeous, green, deep, lush green. And then the little daffodils are popping up every year, or not daffodils, the little yellow things, the weeds. And you're going, oh my God, it's all horrible. The USA went almost 250 years without electing a president who is out on bail, was found guilty of felonies and found liable for sexual abuse. We are the generation who finally put a stop to that. Yeah, but Amber, to be logical about it, it was just lawfare. It was a bunch of made up shit. I can make you a criminal in 2 minutes, Amber. If I'm a Democrat running in Congress right now, I could fuck you up so bad you wouldn't know your ass from your fucking mouth, because I'd hit you so fucking hard your ass would be up by your mouth with legal fucking lawsuits. Your name would be dirt. Elon terminated investigations into his contracts. What kind of investigations were those investigations, Marty? Driven up by a bunch of fucking sold out judges to China and other corrupt interests to Ukraine? Fuck off with that. I don't buy it. And to put it mildly, the understatement of the day, it's just those darn judges, Rach. Well, yeah, it is those damn judges there, Matthew. Holy sweet fucking hell. All right, what else have we got here? We got a number of stories here. Okay, let's go back. It's residential school time. We talked about yesterday's show, but we got a link here for the residential schools because we're all celebrating that. I think that's, it's 4 years since this all came up. There will be no arrest because of Doge. This is something that people voted for an out-of-bail felon was tricked into believing. There was never any secret hidden money to uncover. Whoops. What do you mean secret money? There was a whole bunch of secret money. It's all been evidence. So you're wrong about that. You're smoking something, Ringo.
All those NGOs.
Lay off the funny stuff. 4 years ago, May 28, 2021, Global Mail published a story, one of several, announcing the discovery of children's remains at 215 unmarked graves in Kamloops. The story was and remains, quote, completely false. yet it has never been corrected. And here's the headline back in the day: discovery of children's remains at Kamloops residential school, a stark example of violence inflicted upon Indigenous peoples. Marcia Laterman, these are real children who were loved and who would have been held by so many. And those little spirits have been locked in some big dirty secret that we can no longer hide nor deny. None of this there's not one single grave that has been uncovered. And this has been a story that's sat in the press and within the conscious. I think, what was his name? The guy, Count Dankula, the guy with the little Nazi dog. Personally, I don't believe dogs can be Nazis. It's just my bias. I have a bias. But the little dog, he was teaching a little thing to hold its little Nazi paw up. I think it was so great. Well, at least you didn't tell me to fuck off. I love you, Marty. Yeah, I love you, Marty. But the whole idea, though, of this residential school thing, so interesting, because we talked about this yesterday. But I mean, am I lying here? Am I telling tales out of school? Have they found any actual burials, Blake?
No, and that's, I think that we have a schism within our right-wing political party in BC over this, and essentially there has been no evidence. And when it came out was during the period, of course, it was announced about 2 years into the disease that shall not be named period, where you needed absolute loyalty to the government over the disease that shall not be named. All of a sudden this came up, and this became another thing that you could not question, because it was tied to, they start calling it residential school denialism, just like climate change is turned into climate denialism, and all this kind of stuff. Is they've rebranded it to be wrong speech, much like Orwell, that if you question the government narrative on this, which was essentially at the time was converting Canada and saying to Canadians, you are a genocidal country. Your country is it's colonial, or what they like to call us settler culture, colonists.
Yeah,
committed genocide against the Indigenous peoples of Canada, thus delegitimizes Canada as a country. Part of Trudeau's at the time, his Canada is a post-national state without identity. He was tearing all through he jumped in on the BLM riots as well in Canada. It's tearing down Canada's foundational statues and history and icons that founded Canada. And this was all part of this, to deconstruct the Western belief in our history, Western history, and to rebuild it into the Great Reset. I believe that's what this was all about. So they're using this to humiliate, much like they did with the Germans who were left after World War II during the Marshall Plan, except the Marshall Plan is similar to what they want to do with the Great Reset, except they want to do it in your own backyard. That's what the Great Reset is. They want to rebuild it. And this has become another thing to destroy your opposition, call them genocidal when there was no genocide. Now they change. If you listen to their language, they call it cultural genocide. And I know they don't like that word, but that's the language. So it means that we're trying to erase their history. Okay, we're not going to disagree on that.
Hold on, Blake, because we got to be very careful. In Canada, there are proposed legal changes to address residential school, quote, denialism, which is what you and I are suffering from, with Bill C-413 potentially leading to jail time for me and Blake, convicted of promoting hatred against Indigenous peoples through statements that condone, deny, downplay, or justify residential school system. Well, no one's justifying the system.
Exactly.
There's no burials is what I'm trying to tell you about.
There's no mass murder is what they're trying to say. There wasn't.
Conviction could result in a maximum of 2 years in jail. The proposal stems from a desire to address the increasing attacks on Indigenous communities by denialists, as highlighted by Kimberly Murray. So this is the kind of knee-jerk, dictatorial, draconian suppression, overreach, government criminalization of an otherwise law-abiding populace. I mean, my God, my dad was
legalizing wrong speech.
I was a jail guard working for the constabulary for the municipality of Central Saanich. And now they want to throw us in jail because we're just telling the truth about a reality.
Or your opinion, not just the truth, the opinion.
So, yeah.
Well, you can, when you can see the truth in front of you, exactly. You see the truth in front of you. Your eyes are, I mean, you don't even have to be a doubting Thomas here. You're actually watching it happen. You can see it with your own eyes, and they're telling you don't believe what you're seeing.
But the whole idea, Blake, I mean, you said it right on, is using the word genocide. That's what they tried to sell the people. And so one of our favorites, one of yours and my favorites, is picked up on this genocidal thing. A petition claims gay genocide. What the fuck? We got Elizabeth May here. One of our favorites, she's the Green Party representative of Canada.
Back into her cocktails.
And she's going, oh boy, she likes to bend the elbow. Green Party MP Elizabeth May, Senator Gulf Islands, has sponsored a petition asking Parliament to declare an LGBTQ genocide in Canada. Maybe anybody that throws my Indian breed ass in jail, because, I'm a half-breed, Blake. I'm actually more of a quarter breed. But anyway, May did not comment on the measure yesterday of First Remarks 45th Parliament. Human rights of the Canadian LGBTQ community are endangered. It's a gay genocide now. Oh, my God. Jay Canada, you don't want to have that on your hands. So, Blake, gay genocide, you're worried about it? Any concerns about the gay genocide?
Well, if you actually hear who's going up against gays right now is actually the other alphabet letters apparently have been condemning a lot of gays who have been speaking up against them taking over their pride celebrations. So maybe there is a form of it. They're hijacking what used to be pride was for gay people, but is no longer gay anymore. Its pride has been completely taken. So maybe maybe they are being pushed aside. Maybe they are being marginalized by the other alphabet members. So who knows? But another thing to create wrong speech, so you can't be vocal critic of any kind of policies that are discriminatory. And that's the thing. It's discriminatory policies that people used to fight against are now being used to discriminate against somebody else. And that's all we're saying. We just want to go back to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s speech. It's not the color of your skin or let's say sexual orientation in there too. It's the content of the character. That's what we want. We don't want this crap that they're trying to make us all subservient and to silence opposition voices by creating, let's call for it bullshit. It's just bullshit.
I don't think they're going to win this battle on either front. On either
it does
people's front or the gay front. It's just not going to work.
Well, and it's just creating they just want to create more wedges and wedges that they can manage, right? Divide and conquer. And I think actually the next, if you could pull up that story I put in the private chat, because it kind of backs what's happening. And that's the one of what Marco Rubio is doing, because this is going to challenge this crowd.
Okay, well, we're going to get to Marco. I just want to address 4D here, my good friend 4D, all the way from Manchester, Mancunian legend, 4D man. Well, just the allegation legal defense can tie up dissenters for years, takes out any opposition. Yeah, Nancy Pelosi called it the wrap-up smear. It's a political technique. You plan a story, you lay the charges, you get the person all caught up, and it takes about 5 years for you to work through the legal tangle to come out. So somebody labels you a rapist or, a racist or some sort of nonsense, and then it proves ultimately you were neither of any of it. But by that time, the stories floated and swam and grown and had a great old bath in the through media, legacy media, broadcasting the message that by the time it's all there, people have already got it in their mind's eye that you're guilty of all that, even though there's not a shred of evidence.
Well, we've seen the unison media through those videos people have put together when they all start saying the same words in all of their
Oh, I love you, Paul. I love Paul's comment. This channel is much better on music mute. Guess what, Paul? Put user in timeout on YouTube. You're better in timeout. How do you think that, motherfucker? That's how we deal with that kind of nonsense there, Paul, King of Loyal. Holy fuck.
Let's think about it, Matthew.
Yeah, you just give him a little timeout.
Matthew.
What are you doing? You're killing Petty?
Yeah.
Matthew, you're getting timed out too. Was it Blake rhymes with Flake? Yeah, time him up. Mean comment. We aren't putting up with that. Listen, you liberals, go have a circle jerk. Go bleach one another's assholes. Have a good old time with that, okay? God, and don't do too much. It's going to be quite painful from what I understand.
My skin's pretty thick. Yeah. They can say whatever they want.
I know, but we just want them to keep it a little above board here for decorum purposes. Okay, Blake, take this on. Tell us a story.
So, I mean, this completely allies to what we were just talking about. So the Trump administration has got Marco Rubio announcing to European officials complicit in any kind of censoring free speech are now banned from entering the U.S. So just remember, the UN headquarters and its complete operations is in New York. So that could be really interesting for all of these global politicians and bureaucrats that are trying to control speech are not going to be allowed to come in, and that means they won't be talking. So I think this is also a shot across the bow to the federal Liberals in Canada who have a bill called Bill C-69. I believe that's the one. You may want to look that up, Sue, to confirm that. Yeah. But it's called the Harms Act, where they call it harm because they're trying to protect people from online harm, from speech that offends or hurts. It's masked, of course, all under this to protect children, but no, it's not. It's being built so that they can start censoring speech, specifically targeting X. That's going to be number one.
Yeah, the X platform's number one in their gun fights,
and probably Rumble and a few others will go after on this. And of course, the complicit platforms, like the one we're speaking on, are ones that will follow and agree to it, and Facebook, Meta, et cetera, et cetera. And TikTok, because TikTok's run by the Chinese, so I'm sure they'll block that as well.
Yeah, Trump's been talking about TikTok. He kind of likes it because it helped him in the last election when
it appeals to the youth, right? Younger voters. And a matter of fact, there's a great video right now. Speaking of younger voters, in the hardcore center of progressive USA in Seattle, where a counter protest of looks like thousands of Christian youth are countering an Antifa protest against them for blocking people from getting into a church. And saw a video of that today. I thought that was pretty good, but speak about free speech. But that's good. So I hope Carney takes note. Do not try and pass that any of that stuff out that blocks Canadians' free speech because the Americans are going to protect it. And apparently Americans want to protect our ostriches too.
Well, yeah, we got of course, the ostrich farm, and who's that doctor? What's his name? The DVI.
Dr. Oz.
Dr. Oz is getting involved on that. Robert Kennedy Jr. has talked about it. Scoozy's Ghost, Canadian Online Harms Act, formerly known as Bill C-63, aimed to create. It's interesting because we were talking about ramp boys, we were talking about a gay genocide, and you went with 69, Blake. Very interesting. Aim to create a framework for online platforms to address harmful content, including content that could harm children, promote hatred, and or incite violence. And of course, this is it's so out there. No, and the kind of shit that people are getting shut down for is nothing on that level whatsoever.
I've got just on the ostrich story.
Yeah.
I want to share this.
Okay, we got more information. We're following the little ostriches. I know that some that want to kill some, not all. There's always something going on with this story. What do we got here now? Huge Universal Ostrich Farm owner in tears because after all the social media support, the landfill ordered to take the ostriches is refusing to take them unless they're retested and they show positive for bird flu. 400. That's a fairly substantial number of birds. Healthy ostriches are said to be killed and will likely be saved. The landfill passed a motion that they want these birds that would be accepted into the landfills retested if they're going to accept them. They want proof that the birds are in fact ill. So that's good because what's going to happen is if we can trust the lab that tests, I mean, my God, talk about checks and balances throughout the process is, if the testing is legit, they're going to come out clean. Those birds are healthy.
And especially that the fact that they survived an avian flu by creating a herd immunity, so they have the antibodies to defeat it. So there's something about the ostriches within the testing that has medical people really interested. And of course, there seems to be this nefarious act. Well, let's just kill them all quickly. And apparently, these animals could be helped to save lives by testing why they got the antibody. Exactly, but of course, that doesn't line up with Big Pharma.
Big Pharma don't like ostriches because they could undercut their profit margin. Sue, can you do the Trump Hamas hostage? This is a great story. And I wanted this one on and highlighted, and you can play the guy talking. It's quite touching because this is a guy talking about the efficacy of Donald Trump and why this guy is the greatest president of our time. And for people on my side of the aisle, further evidence, if we needed any, why we love the guy so much. But the contrast between Trump and Kamala is really something in this piece. And I want to hear the guy share his own thing. I'll read the little bit. It comes from the incredible account, Libs of TikTok. Wow. Hostage held by Hamas says the terrorists wanted Kamala to win because they were, quote, scared of Trump. They knew Trump would make a deal and try to get the hostages out. This is Israeli hostage from October 7th. They started treating him better when Trump was elected. Trump, got me out. Can you make that full screen and play?
You got the hostages.
Yeah, give them there we go.
Before we felt like nothing is happening, and I remember for me, ever since he came into the role, they were very scared of him. Yeah, they wanted
who?
Terrorists.
We're afraid of Trump.
Yeah, they wanted Kamala to be chosen, to be elected.
You talked politics with them?
Yeah. They wanted Kamala to be elected. But as soon as Donald Trump was elected, they understood that he wants to bring the hostages back home. Yeah. So immediately the way they treated me changed. So if it's the amount of food, I could say this, that when Trump became president, yeah, the way they treated us changed. For me personally, this is what I
think
felt.
Because they anticipated that a deal would come soon.
Yeah.
And that's when they started giving you more food.
Exactly. More food, treated me better, stopped cursing me, stopped spitting on me.
They were spitting and cursing?
Yeah.
Were they beating you?
No, never. I was never, except the 7th of October, I was never abused physically. But I think it's because the way I managed around
the relationship.
Yeah.
He was smart in captivity.
Wow.
So what a great deal by Trump. And this guy, Jewish, goes, the Hamas wanted Kamala because they knew it would be business as usual for them. But they knew if Trump came in, the heat would be on, the party would be over, and there would be accountability if they fucked these guys up. And of course, the guy, his personal responsibility, he wasn't going around, you dirty Arab scum or anything like that. He was, he was being smart and contrite around him. 4D man with a little bit of humor here. Meanwhile, up to 30 million ostriches in Great Britain still have their heads in the sand. Yeah, we got the same problem up here. Only they got their heads up their asses. And so, but the problem is the same, 4D. We feel your pain. Okay, we got some more stuff to work through. Where are we at 12:48? Wow, there's so many stories to cover.
Yeah.
Let's go to Canada Post here for this one. Canada Post. Listen, something's got to go. And in my mind, I think Canada Post needs a do-over, Blake. It's something not working. I'll just read the headline and I'll let you address the issue. Canada Post reporting $1.3 billion loss in operating expenses, like U.S. Postal. It's a government post. 2024 annual report is a possibility another strike looms. Overall, the Crown Corporation says it's lost $3.8 billion since 2018. So the annual report, they're losing $1.3 billion annually. It's a kind of a cautionary tale of inefficiency. Talk to me about Canada Post. And is there any alternative that we could turn to? What? Give me some.
Well, Yeah, we do. We already have massive amounts of various courier companies, delivery services, everything from large ones like UPS and Canada Post bought Purolator, so maybe they could sell Purolator and let it run by itself again and get out of that because it was a happy company before they got bought. And you've got Uber. You've got, for local deliveries, they're doing that now. And so Uber Eats and, what's the other one? Skip the Dishes. And all those companies are now integrated into local delivery service as well. And Amazon has their own, trucks and stuff like that. So essentially, I made a post about this. If Sue, you want to look this up, actually, this is good. You could probably bring this up while we're talking about. A lot of people have posted up what the union is looking for right now, and it is absolutely
it's not
pathetic.
Yeah.
It's pathetic, and what they're looking for. But the fact is the problem I think with Canada Post is that they turned it into a crown corporation. They should have left it the way it was. It was an essential service. There used to be what they called the Postmaster General, which was an actual cabinet post in government. And essentially, it was almost military-like powers. Because mail, or the Royal Mail back in the day, that was considered an essential service. It was important to keep the communications. Of course, we have the internet now and email and all other stuff, but sending letters was an established form of how people could communicate, and it was protected by law.
Yeah.
And maybe my thought was, well, you're losing money. The only thing you're making money as a corporation, it's the only way it keeps you afloat, is by sending spam mail to everybody. Literally flyers and some antiquated companies that still want to send mail to you. And you can say, like, I've got banks that still send me statements after I've told them, stop sending me statements. You don't need it I could get it by email. Thanks. But the fact is, it's still there. It's still a requirement. They should essentially bring back the Postmaster General, decertify the union, write down the corporation, sell off Purolator, and go back to what their job was to do. And that would literally be like military service. You don't get to be, if you want to be a postie, then you're gonna deliver the mail by law. It's not by union. And the fact that we have a public sector union controlling so many aspects of our lives now is the problem. But yeah, there you go. 19% wage increase over 4 years for a company that's failing. 10 paid medical leave on top of 7 personal days, on top of their regular holiday time. So they're not saying that next to there. Fertility treatment benefits. Why would they need that? Gender affirming care benefit. Well, paid meals for shift 5 hours or more. So we got to pay for them to have their freaking lunch. Limit surveillance for productivity. So they don't like anybody watching them do their job and making sure they're doing it efficiently. 88% wages if injured at work. So everyone else has to go to WCB or any kind of like that. And it's around 65%. So they want even more. Anyway, the list.
Yeah.
Look that up.
It's
absolutely has. They have no support in Canada outside of the far left unionists that try to control our country, which they do have a lot of power. But even a lot of people are shaking their heads like, this is ridiculous. You guys are lucky you have a job still.
Yeah. Okay, so and then we talked about the Hudson's Bay yesterday. Blake, we were talking about what happened. There was a great post that went out today that I captured. Basically, somebody summarized kind of what's happened, who's getting what, but it's just grotesque because, well, all the thing's been around since, the 1600s, Hudson's Bay. It's synonymous with Canada. The Hudson's Bay literally was Canada in an earlier incarnation. We've got a Chinese executive all celebrating. You can play the video because the video itself is...
Oh, signing the documents,
horrific. Yeah, here she is. That's her signing. They're all happy.
Whoa, congratulations, everybody.
Okay, and you can kill that, Sue. And I'll read the comment now that associated. Just scroll up. What a sight to behold. Chinese billionaire Ruby Li celebrates in Mandarin. She picks the carcass of Hudson's Bay, Canada's oldest company. Canada's cook, my friend. Scroll right down underneath the first comment, explains that. Here's what the deal was. She bought the leases to the stores in malls. She's opening up her own stores. They're going to be called New Bay in 28 locations. Maybe we'll be lucky enough to have a New Bay from Lucy Liu.
Look how well New Coke went.
Yeah, holy shit. Canadian Tire purchased the trademark rights and the intellectual property assets for the following for $30 million. So the original name, the Governor and Company of Adventures of England, trading into Hudson's Bay. The coat of arms made up of 4 beavers, 2 elks, and a fox with the Latin phrase pro bellum gudum. This is all part of Canadian Tire. Famous 4 stripes, right? So you get the blankets with the Hudson's Bay blanket on it. Famous, iconic. All the Hudson HBC logo stuff. Discontinued brands or names. Their famous sayings and references minus Zellers, which of course was a Canadian thing, kind of like Target. It was an idea to go, like Hudson's Bay was always high end, you pay a lot, and then Zellers was more of a low end brand.
Yeah, it was a discount, and then they had one tier even below that was Fields.
Yeah. So that's kind of how it all breaks down, right?
Well, she isn't buying the Bay.
No.
Canadian Tire got the Bay.
Yeah.
She's just buying the leases.
She's buying the leases on
to
the former
stores.
locations of where the Bay was.
The story is that it's sad that we cannot keep our own
Canada
country.
is gone. Yeah.
Canada was the Hudson's Bay.
Yeah, the Chinese own
company. It. No, the Chinese don't.
I know, but they got a lovely Chinese gal running it.
But no, they don't. She bought the leases to the
stores,
but Canadian Tire.
Anyway, she's running on it though. New Bay. Where's that from?
Yeah, well, she's gonna have fun with that. She's,
Okay. Go ahead, Blake.
Well, I was just going to say, apparently she was. She has been an immigrant to Canada for a long time. I think she may be a dissident, and as I read the story from China,
nice.
And was happy and loves Canada because of what's provided her. She owns
major malls. Yeah. Okay. We love the lady.
We're going to give her a pass.
She's a pass. Well, she's as Canadian as Mom's applesauce.
There you go.
Okay, Blake, pick one more. It's 3 minutes to go. Shut the program down with a title or something you want to work with. Because you got some links in there still, don't you? Or
no, it was just the one about Marco Rubio was the big one.
Okay.
And just because I think that's a free speech protection that they're stepping up, that maybe help protect Canadians from being abused by our current government on free speech. So that's a big one. Oh, the other one. Are you happy? Maybe you can pull this one up, see if you can find. Sorry, I didn't have the link for it, but it is Carney is giving us all back, family of 4 of up to $840 a year in a tax break. Wow. I'm like, oh, thank you for giving me back some of my money.
Yeah, we're going to give you
which works out to, somebody posted, for a family of 4, it works out to 47 cents a day refund on their taxes.
Holy
can't even.
That's
my response to that was very simple on Twitter. I said, so they've already said the other governments have already clawed it back, so I get nothing. So they lick their lips up. They go, oh, we can vacuum that up from another source. So
you'll get nothing, and you'll like it, mister.
Yeah.
Absolutely nonsense.
Throwing bread to the masses in the arena. Here you go.
Here's the other thing. I guess it's the first day back of Parliament. Like, people are bitching. Like, our people are upset with the U.S. Congress because they barely show up to work. They're on another break. Somebody was in D.C. I saw a post. They go, why? It's like a ghost town here. He goes, yeah, they're all on vacation. There's nobody working.
Maybe Blake can comment on this instead.
So they also had, I just want to finish the thought.
Yeah.
Mark Carney was a significant no-show in the second day of Parliament when they're back. And he didn't even bother showing. He don't give a fuck. I don't need to be there. I'm having too much fun being Prime Minister. You peons run your show. I have no interest in it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a look. PM Carney explained why he's canceling the planned capital gains tax hike. Oh, that's fantastic. Do you know anything about it, Blake?
Yeah, I do, because they wanted to create a capital gains tax hike on unrealized gains yet.
Right.
So before the baby's born,
they want to tax you. You made an investment. That investment appreciates. You haven't cashed it out. You haven't sold it, but they want to charge you on your gain that you made. But are they going to give you a refund on your losses if you lose money on it? No. But what was interesting, it was an act that had not passed. And CRA started taxing people under that new tax plan without an act that gave them the authority to do that. And that was the most bizarre thing we'd ever seen in our history, where government is actually creating a law without a law being passed. And now Carney's trying to act like Trump in the sense of the executive order signings. Well, Canada, you can't do an executive order like that. He has made billions of dollars in spending without an act of parliament passing his budget. There's something bizarre going on. The governor general is giving him special spending powers. The governor general is essentially King Charles. Because that's the representative of the king.
Yeah, it's just another excuse to take more money. And one last question.
So is he King Carney now or Lord Carney?
Well, we'll do
Lord of the Realm?
Oh boy, there he is. Okay, listen, we got one more to go. Okay, we'll go in a little over time because Marty's got a question last minute. Texas Congress passes a bill to mandate 10 commandments to be placed in every schoolroom. Thoughts, Blake? Go ahead.
Very simple. I mean, the 10 commandments are a foundational document to all laws that we live under today. It's thou shalt not commit murder, all of this. It's how our laws came a lot from our legal laws came from the 10 commandments is a major piece of history. I'd be fine with that. I'm not going to say you have to adhere to a religious background here. But the fact is, if you're teaching laws and the laws of history, that is a foundational document.
I think it'll be, in my opinion, I think they're going to, the liberals, Democrats, whatever, they will fight against this thing. They will lawfare it, and it'll be deemed unconstitutional, and ultimately it will be removed, and it's not going to have a place in the classroom. I have nothing against the 10 Commandments. I think they, as Blake said, they are foundational. There's a lot of good to them. But they'll win that on appeal, whoever wants to take it on. And I'm sure somebody out there, Marty, maybe you'd want to do that. It violates the Constitution. That's going to be the basis upon which it is going to be criticized and lawfared against. And they will win that as being unconstitutional. So I think, Marty, you have nothing to worry about Texas. I think ultimately that's going to be overturned as being deemed as unconstitutional. So that's going to be that. But read your Bibles. I'm in First Kings, having a great time. And I got a great deal, Blake, on some used Watchman Nee books. Somebody had them. It's like they never read them. They were all 7 or 8 of these beautiful Watchman Nees. They were in perfect condition. And I went and scooped those up today. So I took a little drive with Sue and picked them up.
Yeah, I think I still have Spiritual Man. So
that is must reading for anybody. If you're a Christian, folks, or Christian identifying, please do so and pick up The Spiritual Man by the legend that was Watchman Nee. If I ever had a kind of a tutor or a guru, Watchman Nee would be my guy. Marty in Oregon, Rach, correct answer. And Marty, we just love you. And thanks for being here. Herc, Matthew, Petty, enjoy your wine, wherever the hell you may be. Take care, everybody. We love you all. Thanks for being here, Amber. God help us, everybody. And all the rest, Wolfie and everybody. We just love you guys and gals. Thanks so much for supporting us. Make sure you give a thumbs up. I forgot that. Do a thumbs up on the thing and share the video. And what's the other one?
Subscribe
to the channel. That's what.
And hit the little bell and make sure you set the bell to all episodes.
And Rach, do you know Henry Drummond? Is he the guy that had the little Willis and the other little kid? What you talking about?
Different Strokes.
Yeah, Different Strokes. It was Henry Drummond. We love him. Okay, everybody, that'll do it for today. We love you. Bye for now. Peace out. Bye-bye.